All right, we're back. Episode 108 of the Morse Code Podcast. Dan Morris, Sopee Priap. Nothing much special around this number. I didn't even bother to think of anything I could possibly do.
No, we're almost at like the temperature to boil water.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fights for sponsorships on that one.
Yeah.
Big time. 108s and heartbreaks, I guess. The cutting room floor album. But anyway, so might be a little different today. We'll get us going, but we're going to have a new friend of the program hop on in, I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes. Who will join the conversation? I guess we can talk some Celtics. We can talk a few other miscellaneous things on the docket. It's been an interesting week as far as weird stories circulating in the internet. And I really don't even want to talk about the Celtics for an extended period of time. It's just too depressing. I'd rather read like one of those like dark, like Edgar Allan Poe novels or something like that. And just like put myself into like a dark place mentally. Not even mentioning the news that came out earlier today about Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, R.I.P. Hence the jersey.
Yeah, that's not great at all. One of the very few silver linings around the season is I have really been enjoying watching Jaylen Brown play. And that's just not going to happen again for the rest of the season. So,
yeah.
R.I.P. Jaylen Brown. He's out. Player. Certainly has. I thought about this the other day, too. This is starting to bother me. We can talk about this with Diggy when he hops on, but it's like, so we're recording this on Monday. They've got their doors blown off on Sunday. And we also haven't recorded since they got their doors blown off on Friday. That was the Bulls game, right? Friday?
Yep.
Whew, my God. Like, what would like the ultimate minus be between like both peak deficits in those games? They're down as much as what, like 28 against Miami, 26?
Yep.
Chicago was right up there too. Chicago might have been in the 30s for a little bit, wouldn't it?
I think it was.
So that's peak combined minus 70 at some point between two games.
Is that not a good strategy?
Terrible strategy.
Okay.
Don't know I don't know if that was like a out of timeout call or like if that was like Marcus Smart coming up the court calling that one, but not great. And what
I was going to wait to see what ESPN said about that.
Nah, don't even wait.
Sounds like you got it nailed down.
No, I don't trust that left-wing propaganda network for anything sports related. So I'm not listening to him. I know what I saw. I saw what I saw. But that's what even like makes me more upset about the Miami game. Is it almost like pisses me off more when they have these inevitable comebacks and only lose by like 6 or 5 or 10. I think they lost by 6 yesterday. Like they got embarrassed yesterday. Like that was not a 6-point loss. Like I almost like I have no interest in the inevitable comeback in the second half. Inevitable comeback. And that's the thing about like comebacks from blowouts. It's usually 50-50. The team down is playing hard, but the team who is up also is like, okay, we can definitely relax a little bit and enjoy our Sunday afternoon and somehow let Trevor Ariza to continue lead us in scoring. This strategy is working quite well for us. Beautiful day in Boston.
They had let up 70 points and a half 3 of the last 5 games, and they almost let up 80 last night. Actually, they came as close to letting up 80 as you could.
79. Doing it. Absolutely right. Yep. It's crazy how much worse 80 would have looked than 79. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you pointed out something astute for once in your life.
Go on.
When we were talking about that Pistons Spurs series, that 79 points and a half would have beaten the Pistons and Spurs like 3 or 4 different times in that series. In
majority of those final scores. And that it's not like this was like a box score from like the Plumbers era. This was 15 years ago with multiple Hall of Famers on the court. And I get it. You can argue it was a different time, but it was still the 2 best teams in the league playing on the biggest stage, putting up 75 points in a victory in regulation.
Yeah, the best player from that series is about to get inducted to the Hall of Fame, so that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Not Chauncey Billups, Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought Chauncey Billups was next year, but yeah, not a great look. But my original point before we got sidetracked a little bit was silver linings. And it's like the other more infuriating thing. I'm not going to call anyone out by name, but there's like green teamers on Twitter and stuff we follow where it's like after every one of these embarrassing blowout losses, and it's multiple people, it's like, all right, silver lining, Rob Williams is looking good, or Kemba's still smiling, or Jason Tatum shot like 70%. It's like those silver linings are fine if you're talking about like the Cavs or like like if the T-Wolves, who clearly stink and have no promise of doing anything, it's like, all right, silver lining, like Anthony Edwards looks like the real deal. Like this is something we can hitch our wagon to.
Yeah.
Like when you're the Boston Celtics, who came in as some people's picks to go to the conference finals, if not the NBA finals. And it's like, all right, silver lining. Aaron Nesmith is getting some good minutes. And every now and then, Kemba's knee looks pretty good. Like we can work with this. Like, no, those aren't silver lining. That's terrible. That's like just what should be happening. There's no silver lining that can outweigh how awful and like embarrassing this has looked like over the last few games. And that's what just drives me nuts. It's similar to like the comebacks and like looking at the final box scores. You know what I mean? Because if I didn't watch that game and just tuned in and looked at the box score, like, oh, they fought Miami hard. It's going to be a battle tomorrow night to try to even this thing out. No, they did not belong in the same court yesterday. No, not a great look.
It wasn't close at all.
Somehow the Celtics looked worse than the Miami uniforms looked, and that's very difficult to do.
Yeah,
very difficult to do. I think those are the worst uniforms in sports.
That was the definition of like flying too close to the sun, where they had it so good for so long with every iteration of their alternate, like the Miami Knights. Like I like the LeBron era ones. I know that's disagreeable, but the like the ones since then were sick. And then they came out with these ones and the blue ones. Do you like the blue ones?
Terrible. No. But are the blue ones all blue, or are those also like half and half?
I think those are pretty much all blue. I think it's the black ones that are good, right?
Yeah, those are okay. I didn't mind the blue ones. Well, I think the all white ones are probably the best ones.
Yeah.
But I don't think they wear those anymore. And I said I think I said this yesterday. It's like I would assume it has to be like a contractual thing where they have to wear these city jerseys a certain amount of time, especially on like TV games and stuff like that. There's no way they're voluntarily like, hey, like these are the ones. Like look good, play good. Like let's throw these.
I'm tired of the Celtics wearing the forest green ones.
Terrible.
The banner ones.
The earned jersey ones. Those stink. They didn't earn. I don't know what they earned, but not those. Those aren't earn worthy. I don't like those personally.
Do you know why those are a thing?
Because the teams made the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah. AKA there's so many terrible ones that were like barely different from the team's other alternates.
Yeah, but sometimes those ones are, I mean, the Celtics ones aren't terribly different. It's literally just a trim of lime green pretty much, right?
Yeah, I feel like the main green is a little different too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and we've talked about the banner jerseys just belong back up in the banners. Those stink.
I can't wait until next year when hopefully those are gone.
There's no way they have the balls to come back next year to wear banner jerseys after the way this year went. They have to win the championship.
Yeah,
they have to actually raise a banner to be able to wear those jerseys at some point next year. Outside of that, I'd say borderline unacceptable. But it is bad news. That Jaylen Brown injury does stink. Like I don't know if we've talked about this too much, and maybe Diggy can weigh in too. But it's like we've never really talked too much about the NBA in general this year and all the injuries. It is bad. Like it is getting a little over the top. I know the guys at Jenkins and Jones talk about it a lot, but it's like, I'm not putting it all on like Adam Silver and how they scheduled the season. Cause I don't know. I mean, I guess like the way they're playing so frequent can cause more like chronic injuries, I guess, but there seems to be a lot of like more freak season ending injuries too. Like Zion was a couple days ago, Jamal Murray, all the MVP candidates have been out a lot, like Embiid, Harden, Steph. The only one who's missed 0 games is Jokic, and I think that's why he's leading the MVP race right now over like all these guys. They showed it in I don't know if you watched the Clippers, maybe it's the Clippers game after. I don't know why they showed Jokic, but they did. Yeah, it's like the big stat they always highlight is games missed 0, and all the other candidates are like at least 10. So I don't know. It just kind of stinks. KD's a huge one. Oh yeah, all the Nets. KD, Tatum missed a lot for COVID. Jaylen Brown's out. Zion, Jamal Murray, Embiid.
Even guys
LeBron,
who have just had
obviously,
like
LeBron and AD. That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah. I was thinking
those injuries could put the Lakers in a play-in tournament.
It looks like it's going to.
Absurd.
There's just been like funny plays too, where I don't know if this guy ended up getting injured or sidelined, but remember the play where Donovan Mitchell like fucked up his ankle?
Yeah.
In like the middle of an afternoon game on a Tuesday.
Yeah, those games are preposterous. I remember Celtics at Nuggets Sunday at like 3:30 or like 2:30, like a month or two ago. It almost looks like a glitch, like on the ESPN app. And that's a whole nother thing I want to talk about. I know we've kind of joked about, and I didn't pull this record up, but I assume it's well below 500. The Celtics record this year on Sunday, like matinee games.
Oh yeah, that's got to be
like, what, 2 or 3 wins, maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the Denver game.
That's the only one I could think of, and that one was a little different because it was like at night. I thought
it didn't really count. No, it was at like 2:30.
Okay,
3:30, which is even earlier out west, and they beat Charlotte. They had that good win against Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
So either way, that's 2 I can think of, and I've seen they play one every week. But that excuse is bullshit too, because like every other team is playing the same schedule. They're all playing Sunday games. I'm sure most teams have played the same amount of Sunday games.
Yeah.
And same thing with like, I think, who said this? It might have been Greeny. Said something today about, it wasn't really making an excuse, but it was talking about COVID, right? And I think it was more along the lines of like, all right, like, before we make any drastic moves, like let's see how they do next year in a non-COVID environment, like normal schedule. Very Cam Newton supporter-esque. Like let's see how he does in like a non-COVID season, blah, blah. It's like, that's fine. And I understand the Celtics were impacted by COVID probably more than other teams, but it's not like everyone wasn't on an even playing field going into it.
Yeah.
You know, we're all living on the same planet, dealing with the same virus, supposed to be following the same protocols. It's not, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't really fly with me either. I think if anything, it's like they're lucky. I'll put it this way. I don't think the COVID stuff is the reason they're battling for the 7th seed in the East. I think it's a really healthy narrative to help support why they're doing that for some people, but every other team is dealing with the same shit. Every other team managed to get their players, you know, and I'm not like COVID shaming anyone on the Celtics, but it's like, you know, it's not really an excuse. It's just, all right, we all dealt with this and you guys maybe dealt with it not as good as some other guys. And they didn't lose star players for weeks at a time. Romeo Langford was MIA for what I thought was 2 years. Turns out it was slightly less than that. And he's actually not even playing that bad, but I don't know. Just a quick rant before Diggy comes on. Is there anything else you wanted to rant about the recent Celtics performances?
I mean, speaking of COVID, are we convinced it's real now that it's been a little over a year? We think it's real?
I'm starting to lean that way, buddy. I don't know.
I hate to go all red hat on you, but
I know. I need to see that million number. I need to see 1 million people croak from this virus. Really
give me capital
give it
M.
A second thought. Yeah, I don't know. I need that 7th figure for before.
No, same thing. Basically, like
that devil's poison in my arm.
Yeah, I mean,
have you looked up the refund policy? You're double vaccinated, right?
I'm double, so I'm due double the refund. That's the only reason I did this.
Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
I mean, basically the same thing. Yeah, everyone's dealt with COVID. There's clearly something wrong with the chemistry of this team and like the lack of leadership, accountability. They're always fine to come out and be like, yeah, we need to do this, and this better. We need to come out stronger, start stronger. We need to involve guys. It's like, all right, the first step to everything is admitting it.
Oh yeah.
Fixing any problem. They're good at that. Fixing the actual problem, not so much.
They're great at creating and identifying problems. It's just that third step, fixing the problem, finding a solution.
I don't blame
Always
them.
gets you.
It's tough.
And again, I said this too recently about I'm getting a little tired of defending Brad. It's like I've never been one to like really go, hey, we need to fire this guy, and I'm still not there. But like I said, it's like I'm not there, but I think I'm done on defending like why it's a no-brainer we shouldn't fire him.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, it's like there's definitely a case. And I think yesterday was a great example. It's like that was, I think you could argue that's about as close to a regular season must-win game as there is. Like both teams are clearly trying to avoid that play-in round. I certainly would hope the Celtics are.
Was it that clear?
That's what I mean. Like that's what I would think going into the game at home. And the you talked about like strategy sarcastically, but seriously, Miami came out with a clear game plan. Like we're going to free up shooters and just shoot the lights out of these guys. And if we shoot 50%, we're going to put up 80 points and a half. And the Celtics came out, and I genuinely don't know what their game plan was. It was a little bit of Tatum ISO. I don't know, a little bit of Evan Fournier off-ball screens, and once you're down 10, you might as well be down 50. Like there's just, when they were down 10, it's like, all right, it's going to be one of those days. And then it was 20, 25, 30, cut it to 20. And then before you know it, it's like 80 to 50 at halftime. And it's like, okay, I have seen this before. We're going to come out, go on a run. Everyone on Twitter is going to start posting the GIFs of like the Undertaker rising in his cane and his casket and like shit like that. And it's like, yep, we're going to lose a close game where the box score says nothing about the performance. And that's like I think you can put some coaching, like these past two games, you can definitely put some out on coaching.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that's crazy to say.
They come out completely flat every time. I don't understand how you can come out every game and start like by the second quarter, they're pretty much always down double digits. It's like, you might as well just start the game 40-20.
I think that'd be beneficial.
It would at least save you some minutes.
It saved me some time. I will say I've caught up on a ton of laundry this year just by having to be able to flip up. Like my clothes haven't been cleaner more often than Sunday afternoons since the Boston Celtics have been playing those games.
Yeah, I've gotten into a lot of DIY myself.
Big time.
Usually I don't do the roofing projects until halftime, but
yeah.
Usually a few minutes left to go in the first quarter. I'm up there hammering away.
Yeah. Hey, do you see that video going around Twitter of I think it was out in Russia, of that pizza delivery man dropping off a pizza and the chimpanzee came out?
What the hell was that?
And took the order. I haven't seen an explanation yet. I haven't seen context and explanation, but that was a good video. That was way more entertaining than the Celtics game. And the chimpanzee was dressed head to toe as well, I'm pretty sure.
He was dressed head to toe, and not only was he standing completely upright, but he wasn't just upright for a chimp. He was standing like a human.
I don't know what that was. If someone in the comments didn't write like this is a chimpanzee monkey, I don't think that'd be my first guess. I'd be like, that's like a weird hybrid animal like I've never seen before.
It could have been Bubbles, Michael Jackson's monkey.
Is he still kicking around? I'm sure he had numerous monkeys.
I'll answer that question after we finish recording.
I'll answer that question with a question. Okay, I guess.
It's kind of private and sensitive, you know.
Yeah, I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about. So that's fine. I don't know. That was weird. And I thought one of the funnier parts was like the delivery guy like gave him the money and then like immediately left. I still think he handled it well. Like I would have been way more visibly freaked out if I was expecting like a young guy to answer the door and it's a monkey dressed in clothes handing me money. I bet he didn't even count the money. I bet he's like, you know what, close enough. We're good.
Yeah, we're hungry. I got a family of 4 in here.
Yeah, I don't know.
What if that was the start to a porno?
Fair question.
Big sausage pizza.
I don't think I want to see the end or the middle. But that start was pretty entertaining. And I don't know why. That didn't peg me as like a Russian thing either. Peg me as a United States thing, actually. I'd probably first go United States. And then, like I don't know if you watch. I don't know, like wherever. I don't know the monkey, wherever like monkeys are heavily populated. But that's a hell of it. And thank God it was caught on video, because that's a story where the guy's going to go back to his boss. Say the monkey shortchanged him, right? It was like a $20 pizza. He gave him a $5.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, I'm good. Like, your boss is never going to buy it. Like, hey, Dino, we're down $15 on your tab tonight. Like, what's going on? Any deliveries stiff you short? Well, I did have one on 3rd Street.
Yeah.
I needed to get around to telling you. You're not going to believe this. Yeah. I pulled up 2 large pies, $19.95, the total. Monkey came out dressed head to toe, gave me the bill, and I booked it. Like, I don't remember this from our training videos when I first joined Papa John's 5 years ago, but I thought this was the right choice. And that's potential firing, because it's like, hey, like, you're lying to me. You created a crazy farce and you stole from the company. Strike 3. You need that video. That video might have saved that kid's job. That's what no one's talking about.
That video would either save that kid's job or get that monkey canceled. Depending on like how the transaction goes. If the monkey says something crazy.
Yeah.
Like, especially if he puts up a fight, if he didn't give him the right change.
That would have been more entertaining.
Yeah.
Or also if like he came out and like slow played it, like just counted like his bills, like licks his thumb going through it. I'm really
Dude, he has like coins in his pocket too. Like, all right,
wait a minute.
10, 15, 20.
Oh man. I'm hoping there's a human involved somewhere in that transaction. There are 2 humans involved in that transaction, not just the delivery kid. But what a weird flex to have a monkey trained specifically to pick up your delivery.
Oh, you think there is a human inside the house?
I would hope so.
I thought this is just a full-on
house of
monkeys.
Nah, somebody's got to order the food.
Yeah, the monkey's like wife or something.
Hey, sexist.
Or husband.
Hey. Yeah, that's fair.
Side note, do you remember Monkey Town?
I bet I would. Was it a TV show with humans and monkeys?
Graduation party, Maxfield.
Oh,
2011.
Close to what I was thinking. Wow, I do remember Monkey Town. That was up in Lebanon, right?
It was. The only thing I wanted to say is the joke that I think a bunch of us made was that. Oh, actually, fuck it. I'll just quickly explain the story.
Monkey Town real quick.
Yeah. So 2011 was when you, me, and thousands of other UNH students graduated.
Certainly did.
And we had a graduation party up in Lebanon at our friend Dave Maxfield's house. There's probably like 20 of us total. It's a bunch of our friends from our floor. And towards the end of the night, Dave and I had started talking about this place because he and I are both from Lebanon. It's called Monkey Town. Now, it's a town of little people, and it's not like a town. It's more like a street in White River Junction or Hartford, Vermont. So if any of our listeners are from there or from Monkey Town,
call in. Or a monkey.
Call in 617-790-9885. We talked about how that was a place we'd heard a lot of lore about growing up. So I remember I went there as like a senior in high school, and the folklore goes that if you go there, a lot of those people don't like being disturbed, and they're little people. So they live in this just one side street with a bunch of little houses. And that if you piss them off enough, they'll chase you outside with like a shotgun. I don't remember
the shotgun part.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Go ahead.
They're big on 2A as well.
Were these regulated houses? They're like huts.
They're houses. They're just much smaller than a normal house, much shorter and narrower.
Really? Like with an MLS number and everything?
Huh?
Like with an MLS number and everything? Sold on the open market?
Just a niche market. And so I went there once as a high schooler. I remember we got out, it was like midnight, and this street is next to a cemetery too. So very strange. We got out, and I think we were just kind of like, I don't know, looking for a late night, whatever, thrill. It was kind of creepy. Got back in.
Sounds horrible.
Drove off, didn't see anyone, but the street was pretty weird. So flashback to the graduation party. Dave and I brought it up. A bunch of people wanted to go. So we got Caitlin to drive.
I remember now.
Caitlin in the front seat, me in the passenger seat, Chris Nagel, Tony Brancato, and Josh Stremko in the back seat, and we talked it up so much and so long, probably like a half-hour buildup. So we finally go, and this is probably at like 1 a.m. Caitlin was the only one responsible enough or like good enough to conduct us. We get one driveway down, and I had some dip for the first time in my life. And I just got so sick that I like quietly, I remember looking to my right, and I was like, even if I move enough to crank the window, that's going to be enough to make me throw up. So I turned to my right, threw up in the space in between the seat and the door, didn't say anything. And I was like, I don't give a shit. If no one else says anything, then fuck it. We're going.
Didn't happen.
Yeah. And then eventually Tony was the one was like, what does that smell? Did someone puke? And it was his car.
Oh, man. Oh, nice.
That's we got one driveway down. Everyone was like, yeah, we can't go. Like, we need to turn around.
Yeah,
turn around. I remember Dave's mom was the one who came out and cleaned Tony's car while I went out. I went inside and just like passed out. So we never got to go there. And also, that was the same night that you and Ben were sleeping in the tent.
Sure was.
And you didn't appreciate my visits to the tent.
No, that stunk. But I also remember when we set up the tent, it was dark out. But I remember setting up the tent in what I thought was Maxfield's backyard. Woke up to find it was actually the front yard of his neighbor. So it was like the garden of like his neighbor's house. That was a real shell shock.
As a first time dipper, my
yucky
offense to Dan and our friend Ben. I kept like spitting in there to like show off when I like visited their tent.
Yeah, that wasn't cool. If that was your goal.
Because I didn't realize that the tent had a bottom, so I thought I was spitting on grass.
Either way, you'd be spitting on the grass that we were sleeping on. So it really didn't make a world of difference. That was like the deal breaker. But
so I apologize, by the way.
That's okay. I'm over it. I actually completely forgot about it. But yeah, Monkey Town, that's an interesting story. That is terrifying. And I feel like there's something similar to we talked about with like maybe like Justin Lang or someone. Like a lot of towns have weird like ghost stories or like just like weird shit. Like we talk about Blood Cemetery all the time. Monkey Town is.
I need to go there
now. That place is a shit. That place is pretty cool.
That's in Nashua.
I think it's Hollis technically, but you can get there from Nashua. Should do an episode there, Halloween episode there.
Yeah, I want to do it live. Let's do it live. But like let's bury each other and then do it live.
Buried alive match. A buried alive match live at Blood Cemetery. Have you heard from Diggy? Is he coming on or what?
He is. I'm going to tell him to hop on.
Okay, let's do it. Let's get into this. So new friend of the program. If you follow us on Twitter, if you follow Tyler's, Discord group, CPFs, all that good stuff, fireside chats. Diggy's a pretty frequent contributor. Good follow on Twitter. Boston kid, right?
Yeah.
And from what I heard was he has a lot of beef with Boston media, not including us. So I'd like to get his take on some of that stuff, talk some Celtics, talk some miscellaneous stuff. There's a few other like miscellaneous stories that came up for the past week. So we'll pack this into the next 30 minutes or so and see what we can get.
All right. I think he's ready to go.
I'll let you introduce him. Does he know we're live on the air?
No, we'll edit this if we need to.
If he's naked.
Hello, what's going on, guys?
Diggy.
What up, Diggy?
What's up, brother?
Not much. How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. We're just building you up over the past 45 minutes.
I appreciate that. A lot of work, a lot to go on, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we were talking about a little Celtics. We're talking about, I don't know if did you see the video that came out recently about the pizza delivery guy delivering a pizza to a monkey in Russia?
I have not seen this yet. No.
I thought Tyler shared it. Maybe that's where I saw it from. Maybe he didn't. I'll send you the link. It's a good one. But let's hear this. So we'll give the floor to you for a little bit. So Sopee told me that you have beef with Boston media. You're not a big fan of Boston media. You want to take the floor a little bit and set us all straight?
Yeah, I mean, mainly just like old school radio media, I guess, is my main issue with for the most part.
Okay.
Troll media, I really would like it comes down to for the most part, like people that I know are just trying to rile up the fan base without actually really coming in watching a lot of the games that I'm assuming just by their commentary. Mostly that and like just like different verbiage they try to like to try to get the fan base riled up. Like you guys stink when they're talking about the team and generalizing an entire fan base.
Yes.
Just things like that kind of annoy me. And just the fact that like I feel like a lot of people's or mainly like, Twitter opinions I feel get based upon what they hear on the radio. So it feels like it kind of just like propels our fan base to look like the media.
We'll give it a sign.
Well, he's heated up. Oh boy. He's letting him have it. I feel like he's talking directly to friend of the program, Adam Jones. And maybe Felge. I don't know. Maybe us.
Wait.
He's not happy about it at all.
Sorry about that. Looks like I lost connection for a second.
Yeah, no worries, bro.
He was so heated, he ripped his cords right out of his router.
Couldn't believe it. Kicked my router right out the living room.
I'm putting this thing right in the garbage disposal.
What's your guys' opinion on like the state of like our pretty much our national media? What we get national coverage for the people that our fans pretty much are like represented by almost, which is kind of annoying.
I'm with you. I think we talked about this with somewhat recently. It's like I know enough to separate like local sports radio personalities from I don't know, a more general like idea of what's actually going on. Like I think we'd all agree the shows like our local shows like EEI 98.5 and all those stuff. I think they understand they're more of an entertainment based program. Like they have to give a reason for people to come back, whether it's factual or not, not even factual, whether it's like justified or not. I don't know. Like people like Adam Jones, it doesn't matter what the Celtics do. It doesn't matter. Cam could throw for 1,000 yards in a game.
Those are like my biggest. I didn't want to name names, but Adam Jones
is quite all right.
That I have
it's quite all right.
But I think unpleasable at any point in time. Almost.
I would agree, but I think again, like that's his shtick. He can't. It'd be even weirder if one day he was like, "Oh, like I thought Jason Tatum looked really good tonight, off like 7 of 10 shooting." Anyway, that's it. That's
his wild take being reasonable,
right? Exactly. And there's definitely like because now everyone is so brand based. Like people build brands based off their opinions. Like if you look more like Skip Bayless, like if Skip Bayless came out tomorrow and was like, wow, like LeBron James is one of the more clutch players I've seen in quite some time, like blah, blah, blah. It'd be like, okay, like either you got hacked or like you've been a fraud for the last 10 years or people who started to lean more like there's been a lot of sports personalities that started leaning like more political over the past like 2 years. If they just all of a sudden go back to talking about sports, A, they've probably lost all those new viewers they gained. And B, it's like, all right, we don't have any idea what you really think, like what's your actual opinion, blah, blah, blah. So I get
that's
it.
more than fair.
Yeah. Sopee, you're a valued member of the Boston media. How do you take those comments?
No, I agree. I think the worst part is that like people then try to associate or conflate the fans with the media. And it's like, no, that's not how the fans think of
that's a
teams.
Good point.
Like, yeah, we might be critical, but number one, it's not personal. If we are critical, we just like care about the team. And number two, we're not just like trying to get a rise out of these guys because the more that you do that, the more that they're going to be pissed and not want to fucking play here. So right. I totally agree with that. And number three, do you guys remember this? This might be the pettiest of a media versus player like story. So obviously Skip versus LeBron is the biggest one. Timeless. But I feel like an underplayed one is Skip versus Kawhi because for a few years he just referred to him as number two. He would not say his name on Twitter. He wouldn't tweet his fucking name, and it's like
he wouldn't do it on First Take either. Like he'd call him number two. I forgot whatever fucking show he's on. Yeah, I forgot that it actually. Yeah, I think it was like First Take, and then he took it with him to, Undisputed. And it's just like, dude, like Kawhi Leonard's not nearly as dislikable if you're looking at that part of the game as LeBron. Yeah. I think Kawhi is just so much quieter, and yeah, he didn't want to play for your team anymore. But I mean,
it kind of sounds like the team was trying to pressure him to play before he was ready. But yeah, anyways, that was the pettiest. Like not saying a guy's name. That was like a girlfriend or boyfriend who broke up with someone and then was like, yeah, I'm not even going to say who it is, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, I never want to like have to see that person's face again.
I mean, I think at a minimum, Kawhi Leonard deserves to be referenced by his first name or last name. He's earned that.
I think
I'm not a big Kawhi fan, but I refer to him as Kawhi or Mr. Leonard, respectfully. And I was also confused too, because he's a diehard Spurs fan, right, Skip?
Yeah.
So did he like Kawhi before the whole like drama?
Yeah.
He loved Kawhi before the whole drama.
What an old weirdo. That's just like a weird move.
It's like you're 70 years old. Relax.
Yeah. Okay.
It was also Skip just yelling to nobody because there's no chance Kawhi ever heard or would ever reply to any of that.
I don't think Kawhi has cable.
Into the ether essentially about Kawhi.
Yeah, I don't think Kawhi has Wi-Fi. Now that I think about it, like at his house,
he is Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
Kawhi Leonard.
That was a weird one. That's a weird dynamic. Him and Shannon, because Shannon's like the opposite. He's like for an older guy as well, big LeBron stan. Like, where's the jersey? Where's the goat mask? Which actually is hilarious when he does that. But very weird dynamic. He's always matched well with like counter a very big, vocal, confident African-American co-host. That's like Skip's like niche in media between Stephen A and now Shannon Sharp. Like that's really all he needs on his resume if he's looking for work. Sit me beside someone who I relate to none whatsoever. And I can just spit crazier and crazier takes the older I get. It's just become accepted. The older I get, the crazier things I can say.
How much longer can it go in the sense of like, obviously the ratings are not nearly as good for Undisputed as they were for First Take, but how much longer can it go where people are like, no, this guy's just too old for me to care about his opinions? Because in the Boston
I think he has
media,
to die.
Yeah. The Boston media, those guys aren't, I mean, they're young for sports media. They're like early 50s, but in life, they're not the youngest. But compared to Skip fucking Bayless.
How old is Skip Bayless? He's not 70, is he?
He's got to be in his 70s.
Really?
I'm not sure.
I'm looking it up right now. I mean, his Jordan collection tells us otherwise, but I can't be positive.
That's true. He never loses when he puts those Jordans on.
Not once.
Bought me these Jordan 2s on my 50th birthday when they first came out.
He's 69. So he's on the verge. He's pushing it.
Nice. Great age. I assume you guys have all seen shirtless Skip Bayless pics.
Unfortunately.
I'll give Buddy that.
Oh no, 69 Skip Bayless was much better than a 31-year-old Diggy. I will promise that.
Yeah, I would agree with that for myself as well. And then actually Shannon too. Like Shannon's got to be up there. He's at least 50. No,
Shannon's.
He looks like he'd play in the NFL today. Yeah, he looks like he could. He looks like he could play tight end for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NFL today, over some other people. But I assume you saw the groundbreaking, terrible news about Jaylen Brown this afternoon, Diggy.
Unfortunately, yes. I mean, it does give us a built-in excuse. Hey,
good point.
Celtics are about to turn it around. We were just they had everything so we wanted right there now.
It's got to flip the switch. Absolutely.
What were we going to do now? No Jaylen Brown. How do you do that without one of your all-stars? So
now you're just playing with house money, and I do have a hot take. I think they're going to get further than we expect. Kind of like when Kyrie was.
I was just going to say that was my expectations at this point.
No, I've said this all year. Like when they went on like a run of like 3 Eastern Conference Finals, was it 2 or 3? They went 3 in a row, right? Maybe 2
out of 4.
3 out of 4.
Okay, cool.
The Kyrie season.
Correct. I didn't pick them to go to the Eastern Conference Finals any of those years. I thought they've gotten better and better every year. And then like the one with Terry was fun, scary Terry when Kyrie was out, Kyrie year 1. But anyway, I've always said, hey, they can make the playoffs and at least get like the 4 seed, like get a home seed play-in round. I have no scientific evidence to back up me like not believing they'll somehow get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like it just happens every year, especially now that LeBron's out of the East. It's like they can sneak through the first round. I still think one of those top 3 teams is due for an upset. Maybe not in the first round, but in the second round. Like that's the thing about It's like Brooklyn. I have no idea what Brooklyn looks like as a team because they've played as a team like 6 times. So I don't really know. And maybe you guys know better than I do. I don't know. What are like the expectations for Brooklyn's roster in the playoffs? Are they fully expecting all 3 to be back like full time?
I think they're expecting Harden to come back. I'm pretty sure in time for the playoffs, which seems to be like the straw that stirs the drink for them. It seems like they get so much better with them. So I'm curious to see what happened with that because like KD's been putting up just some ridiculous stat lines.
He plays like every other month, and he puts up like 35 and 11. Like
the shot attempts is crazy too because he's doing it on like 15 attempts. I'm like, it's just incredible to watch. What do you guys, if out of the 3 teams in the top of the East, what one did you think would be most likely to get upset right now? Out of Philly, Brooklyn, and
Milwaukee. I probably would have said Milwaukee preseason, but now I kind of like them just because no one's talking about them. Like no one's talking about the fact that Giannis is not going to win MVP simply because he's won the last 2 MVPs. I don't think a lot of people are talking about that, and it's 100% true. Like I think maybe probably Jokic will win it. But Sopee and I were talking about this before he hopped on. It's funny, like every graphic you see, like his numbers are great, don't get me wrong, but the number they always highlight on is games missed, 0. Because no matter who you compare him to, it's like 20 and upwards, like for every other MVP candidate. And well, actually, what about Has Giannis missed a lot of time this year?
No,
I don't think so, right? It's just been a normal
they will not give
workload. They can't, simply because they gave him the last 2.
Yeah,
it would like they would get torn apart if they gave it to him this year. They can't do it. I don't know who they is, but they would get like ripped to shreds.
The old whites.
If he had gone further in the playoffs, and had at least 1 title, I think they would.
I don't think you can do 3 in a row. I don't know what you would have to do to get 3 in a row.
If LeBron never got 3 in a row, I don't see how you can give it to anyone else at this point. I guess that's like the argument against it.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's true.
I've always said that too. The MVP, you can't really put too much weight in it because, like you said, it's like if it's the best player every year, then you're right. Then like there's probably a 15-year run where you had to find a reason to not give it to LeBron as far as the best player in the league. I said the same thing about coach of the year in the NFL. It's like coach of the year in the NFL is pretty much, okay, who's had the most injuries and had a decent year, or like who was shitty last year and came back to be good this year. Because if coach of the year was the best coach for that year, like Bill Belichick would win it for 20 years in a row. Like there's no reason not to give it to somebody else.
It would just be him and Andy Reid alternating the reward every other year, essentially.
Exactly. It'd be like, yeah, exactly. It's like when the Lakers, Spurs, and whoever else used to just switch championships every few years for like a span of 15 years. But yeah, I don't know. I also think like maybe it's because I'm just getting older and I'm not tied to like players as much, but like I genuinely really don't care about MVP that much anymore. Like I know the last 2 years was Giannis. I remember the last real MVP year I remember, I think was probably Russ, just because it was like the triple-double narrative. But now that's just like average. Like 9 to 5, like clockwork now. Yeah. Like that's not even a big
deal. The Harden one's probably the one that comes most likely to mind to me.
Yeah, that too.
Up some crazy stat lines, like Russ numbers just on steroids, more or less.
Yeah. Maybe Steph unanimous MVP year too. Because that's another one where it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, the year he won 2 in a row. So the year he won before, that wasn't the unanimous one, right? That was like more of like an average year. The first one was not
unanimous. It was the second one.
And I think Tyler talked about this, or maybe like an old episode of Mixtape, but it's like the only reason he was able to get 2 in a row was because he was so good. Like everyone had to vote for him. And that like there's you couldn't justify not voting for him for MVP that year. And that's like the kind of year I think Giannis would have to have he would have to win unanimous MVP. And obviously that's not going to happen. So he'll probably finish like 5th. He'll finish behind, I don't know, some bozo like Joel Embiid, who's missed like a quarter of his games. James Harden, who's missed. James Harden was right there too, but I think now he's definitely missed too many games.
Well, you mentioned Jokic about every time they bring up the number 0 when they talk about I feel like if any year to bring it up, though, this could be the one because it seems like it's just a season of nutrition at this point.
Yeah, we were talking about that before you jumped on. It is getting kind of crazy. Like a lot of people kind of victimize Adam Silver about like the season and how many back-to-backs and I get that's part of it. But there's just been a lot of just freak injuries, I think, that have happened in the last 4 or 5 months, whatever it is. I don't think, Jalen's not like a freak injury, but like Jamal Murray, Zion, LeBron and AD, are probably like those 2 injuries are good. Like we said before you came on, those are potentially going to knock the Lakers out of the playoffs. Like those 2 injuries, because I'll tell you what, if they get matched up with the Warriors, that is the last team I ever want to see ever on a must-win game.
Oh yeah,
I would consider hot money on the Warriors in that game because Steph could drop 60 easily, and LeBron could cramp up in the second quarter. We might never see him again. So who knows? And then Skip would have an aneurysm. But anyway, I do want to mention this real quick. So you were you talking about the media and like the negative side of it? I think we're all in a similar like Twitter stratosphere, following similar people and stuff. I sometimes think like green teamers and like the overly optimistic is maybe even worse or like just as bad, where it's like there's tweets in the middle of yesterday's game down, giving up 80 at halftime, where it's like, all right, hey, Aaron Nesmith looks pretty good, or Kemba's still smiling. And it's like, yep, that's great, but this is the National Basketball Association.
Yeah, Jalen's lineup looks great. It looks like Tatum just got a trim.
Yeah,
this is true.
Deuce is cute. Like we're doing things.
Brad hasn't said a bad word in ever.
Hey, Brad threw his gum the other game. He was very upset at one
point.
Whoa.
I think it was I think it was when we were playing Brooklyn. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if it was Brooklyn. I can't remember what. It might have been Brooklyn, and it was when Fournier helped off of whoever the hell he was guarding and left Joe Harris wide open for a 3.
Oh, great!
And Brad just you could see him. He threw his gum. It's the angriest I've ever seen him on a Celtics bench. So it's nice to see that he can show emotion at any point if he needs to. That was a plus, I guess. But no, yeah, I agree with you when it comes down to like the overly optimistic. Like I don't need to see positive tweets when we're down by.
It's okay to say
80-point half. You can be
this
critical.
Team blows. It's okay to say that.
I was just saying it's okay to be critical. Like you can do it when it's time being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not an issue. But yeah, no, I agree with you. There's I feel like the guys who do the like Jimmy, the guys who do the post game report. I feel like they're a perfect healthy medium of they give praise when it's due and they
I agree.
Criticize when they need to.
Yeah.
Same thing with you guys. Like I can tell there's a difference between like Sophie's more like probably the more optimist of the two of you on the podcast, judging by the Twitter sphere.
Yeah.
But like there's a difference between like constantly just being upset about every little thing that's coming across.
Oh yeah.
And then you know what I mean? So I mean there's a healthy medium that's between everything.
I just think it's more entertaining too. Like I think a more entertaining night on Twitter is when they're down 30 than I don't know, like beating Milwaukee by 6. Like, all right, cool. I'd rather see like clips on Twitter of Grant Williams like fumbling the ball off his ankles than I don't know, like a couple Evan Fournier threes. That's just me. And I hope they win every game. Like for example, like the other day when Tatum dropped 60, like I was all about it. This is fun, entertaining. This is great Celtics basketball. Last night was not one and the same. Last night was something quite different. And it's like, all right, how can I expect any credibility if I go online and say something like, all right, big second half. Oh, Miami doesn't want to see us out of the tunnel in the second half. I'll tell you that much. No, Miami was players on Miami were texting their wife, like preheat the oven. Like, we'll be back soon.
We'll be home early.
Go ahead and turn that DVR on. We got stuff to watch when I get home.
But boss is asking if anyone wants to clock out early, so we're good.
Yeah, that was an embarrassing one. That was a really tough one to watch. And then they do what they do every game when they're down by 1 million. They come back just enough
and make it look respectable,
make it look decent. And then my favorite game was when they were down by 20 the other day. They cut it to 8 and then lost by 20 anyway. Like I wish all of those games ended like that so people could act
that's right,
bad they fucking looked during the game.
And I've said this, I'm an old man, but like it pisses me off way more at night games. Like I remember the Mavericks game? I think it was at Dallas. They were down like 20.
The Luka game?
Yeah. Yes, correct. Came back to make it a close game. So now I'm up. I usually go to bed like by 10 at the latest. I'm up at 11:30 watching a midseason game, knowing they're going to lose. Like I know Luka is just going to rip my heart out, but I have to watch it. And then Luka literally rips our heart out. It's like, all right, going to bed. I'm going to wake up more tired than I should be. Thanks, Brad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the worst. Those are disrespectful. I thought about this real quick. Speaking of Brad throwing his gum, you remember when Steph whipped his mouth guard? And didn't he hit like a fan, like in the front row, or like hit a ref or something?
I think he hit the scorer's table.
Oh, even worse. Like
Like
he
Breen couldn't
hummed
believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bang! Right off Mark Jackson's face. He was heated. Steph is such an asshole. Steph is like the coolest asshole I know.
Mm-hmm.
I would hate playing. I think like as Celtics fans, like we talk a lot of the go-to is like, oh, KG, hate to play against them, but the guy you'd love to have on your team. Fair, but I would hate playing against Steph Curry. He is just so disrespectful. I think it wasn't Tyler. I think it was like the guys on Jenkins and Jones or something. They're talking about like Steph's so ruthless. The other day, he was playing against his brother. Where's Seth Curry now? Philly? Dallas?
I think Philly.
Philly.
I thought so too.
Because he's reunited with Doc, his father.
Correct. He's like this dude like shot a J in his brother's face, did his classic turnaround before it even goes in, did a shimmy, thanked God, and then looked at his mom in the stands and walks back. And it's like there's no control over this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Blew a kiss to his very hot wife.
Oh God.
What's up,
Blew a kiss
Aisha?
to Doc's daughter, and then went back on transition defense and probably got cooked by Joel Embiid on the other end. But
don't worry, we will get all three of those back on the next possession. Don't you worry, boys.
No big deal. So I don't know. Are you guys ready to pick bandwagons going forward?
I am. I've got three, but I'll.
Sopee, good.
Okay. First one is easy. The Hornets, because the team is fun with LaMelo, and I'll root for Terry, and I guess Gordon Hayward if I have to. Mr. Education Reform. No, Gordon Hayward. Forget
January
that I
6th Hayward. Good.
Plus, anytime that Miles Bridges dunks, their announcer goes fucking nuts, and their announcer is awesome.
Oh, their announcer is the best player on the team. Big fan.
So them, second team is the Warriors just because of Steph, and I would love to see him if they did get to the play-in game, beat the Lakers.
I'd love it.
And then number 3 is my ultimate dark horse. I'm not rooting for them to. I guess I wouldn't mind if they won the title because I don't hate them.
Oh boy,
the Clippers. I would like to see
those picks.
I would like to see how mad Lakers fans would get at how much the Clippers fans would chirp them, because as much as I don't care about the Clippers, I hate the Lakers. So
that's fair.
Give me a Clippers title and give me the Clippers beating the Lakers on the way there, which I don't think would happen if it came to that. But
that's what was supposed to happen last year, and it didn't because the Clippers choked per usual.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little more. Yeah, there's a little more to it this year because if they didn't do what they did last year, I might still be rooting for them to lose just because I don't like them. But they've already done it. They've already choked more than they possibly could.
Yeah.
So you joked about house money earlier. It's definitely house money for the Clippers this year. Like they can't do any worse than they did last year. And if somehow they get lucky enough to avoid the Lakers via a early exit on the Lakers part, as opposed to early exit on the Clippers part, like last year, I think they just have to turn like laser focus and be like, yo, if we're ever going to win a championship, this is it.
This is the time.
We have to win 4 out of 7 games 4 times. Or we're like nosediving our plane into the ground, like on the way after the last game.
It could set up the matchup that everyone's been waiting for.
Jazz Wizards.
I was gonna say a close second. Clippers and the corpse of Blake Griffin.
Oh God. Would that be a shit show?
I would love to watch Kawhi just dunk Blake Griffin straight through the net. I would enjoy nothing more than that.
I would enjoy that. So, okay, I'm going to agree with, I definitely don't want to watch the Hornets play. I don't know about the Clippers. Who was the other one you said? Middle one? So.
The Warriors.
Oh, yeah. That's one of mine, too.
Wait, you don't want to watch the Hornets?
No, I don't want to because of Gordon Hayward. If Gordon Hayward's hurt for the playoffs, I'll root for the Hornets.
I think their court aesthetics has just lost me. Like, I don't like the new court design.
That's a good point.
I don't like those jerseys. Like, we talked about this a lot too, Diggy. It's like you had in the 90s, like you had by far one of the cooler uniforms, logos, like court designs, brands. And for some odd reason, like you like chose against that to do something else, which is just
one of my
to me.
teams is the same exact thing that I have as one of my teams that I'm going to jump on the bandwagon for.
Go ahead, Diggy. What do you?
My main one was Memphis, mainly because John
Where the
Morant
fuck is Memphis
so
right now?
goddamn cool.
They're even in the playoffs.
They're in play-in right now. I'm pretty sure. So I think they'd be like long shot. It would be a long shot. But I just love watching Ja Cook so much. He's one of the most fun players to watch right now.
He's dope. Yeah.
And my other one was Phoenix. It was tough because of Chris Paul on the team, but I do love watching Devin Booker. When he gets hot, he's one of the most fun players to watch play basketball. He just cooks on a different level.
Yeah.
So those are my two big ones that I was, and then Charlotte was actually one of mine, but I had the stipulation Gordon Hayward had to be hurt.
Hey, 1 for 1 so far. Also, if the Suns go far, we'll probably get a cool viral story about the whole team fucking like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian or something.
Very good point.
I didn't think about that.
Great team chemistry.
Yeah.
On
court, off the court.
Yeah, very
great
close-knit team.
I don't know. The Spurs are the 10 seed right now. If they make the playoffs, if I learned anything over the past 20 years, they're probably going to make the finals. Oh, man, this is tough. I think the Warriors are my clear cut. Like, I would genuinely enjoy watching them play. And I've probably watched like 10 outside of Celtics games and like some of the ESPN games, like 10 minutes of Warriors basketball this year because losing Clay was just so like deflating. That just like took so much air out of the balloons, like going into the season. But Steph is doing Steph things. Even Steph, like going back to like the MVP conversation, like I know Steph missed a lot of time, but did he miss like substantially more time than some of the other guys?
No, I think
he's played so, right? Maybe 20 games. And I get they're the 8 seed or even that. What are they? 9 seed, 8 seed. That roster blows. Like that is you can make the same argument for like Westbrook. Like the Wizards are in the same spot. They're the 9 seed. They're not there without Westbrook averaging a triple double. Like call it what you want. Call him a stat patter. Without that, if Russ cut his numbers down by like a quarter, they're probably last place in the East.
You think they're
a lottery team if their numbers are cut in half?
You're saying there's a big drop off from Katie and Clay to Kent Bazemore and Juan Toscano Anderson.
James Wiseman. Yeah. I am saying that. But... I'm saying exactly that. Yes. What do we got? Damn, Houston Rockets dead last.
Oh, I don't want to see them in the
worst team in the NBA. Oh, I got news for you, buddy. Mathematically, it ain't happening. They lost 52 games this year. They're 34 games.
Lost like 16 in a row at one point too, I'm pretty sure.
Sure did. The Houston Rockets are 34 games behind the Utah Jazz. What fucking year is it? What's happening here? My goodness.
Remember when the Thunder snapped their losing streak against... Oh, never mind.
Did you see Grandy's tweet? Sean Grandy?
Yeah.
The Thunder's like 1-20 in their last... Might be more than that. Like 1-23 in their last 24 games with an average margin of loss of 21 points. With the one being over... our Boston Celtics. Big fan of that stat.
And not even a particularly close game either, to be honest with you.
That was one where they almost like they really almost pulled it off at the end where it was like, okay, you've come back, but now that there's a minute to go and you're down about 12, all right, like there's no way this is happening. And then I think they got it to within 5 with about 30 seconds to go.
Who the fuck cares? Like, it doesn't matter.
I don't even know why.
I'd rather lose comfortably by 30. I'd rather be able to not have to watch the fourth quarter. Like if we're down like 20 going into the fourth, I know I don't have to watch it.
How many times have you guys turned the game off in the third quarter and then gone back during the fourth quarter because they made a run and it's like, oh, never mind. That was a complete waste of time again.
Like last night, like I hate to sound like whatever, but like they don't deserve to win last night. Like I didn't want them to win last night. Like that, if they win last night, it means nothing. Like it's get out of here. Anyway, let's see. So Warriors. Why do I want to see the Knicks do something in the playoffs? I think it'd just be funny to see the New York Knicks. The 1 year, like they have, like they continue to strike out in the offseason, have no expectations whatsoever. Julius Randle is playing. He could make a second team All-NBA. We'll see. I don't know.
There's another MVP candidate, Derrick Rose.
Former MVP. He already has one. So that's why he can't win this year. He got it in 20.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Those writers never give him after the 2015 MVP that he won at some point.
Boy, there is a real scenario where the Knicks and the Hawks play each other in the playoffs in the first round. Good grief. Not my NBA. Not my daddy's NBA. Let's see. Yeah. Knicks would be fun. Honestly, like out of those top 3 teams, I'd be curious to see Brooklyn advance just to see what the chemistry is like, but I really don't want them to. At this point, I think one of the quietest teams this year has been Milwaukee. I think it's time Milwaukee does something. Like I would love to see Giannis just quietly go and win a finals and then finally put himself in that next level to have conversations with some of those other guys. Because I think people can argue. I think he might be, better than Kawhi, better than who else? I don't know. And you can compare him to Anthony Davis, like just guys who have rings who automatically put them a rung higher. If Giannis has a ring, like he's an all-time great player. Could say the same about James Harden, but I don't know.
I was going to say the same about New England's finest or New England's own Pat Connaughton.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Matt Bonner, but I think Spurs are only the 10th seed, and he retired like 5 years ago. I don't know. Kings might have a chance to make the 10th seed. They're 2.5 games out.
That's incredible that they're even that far out, to be honest with you. I thought they were like the barrel bad, but hey, good for you, Darren Fox.
They have some cool players. I kind of like the Kings. They have some cool cats on that team. I also had no idea DeMarcus Cousins was on the Clippers till yesterday afternoon, and I caught a glimpse of him. DeMarcus Cousins is turning into Zach Randolph really quickly. He's putting on a lot of weight, and his vertical's getting lower and lower every year. Do you remember when, like, towards the end when Zach Randolph, like, literally, like, he was Chris Paul, like, couldn't dunk. Like, he
couldn't jump over a phone book. It was incredible.
What a career that guy's had. So I don't know. I guess I'll go Warriors, Bucks, and I've always liked the Blazers. I think Blazers could be fun. I like Dame. I think they have a fun team, but they're inevitably going to lose to someone who they should beat. So,
is there anyone who doesn't like Dame outside of Paul George? Probably.
Yeah, good question. I don't know. He doesn't. He seems like a cool guy.
If you look on Twitter, Warriors fans, Steph fans, sorry. Because they always get thrown into like the same arguments about who's a better like long range shooter and stuff like that. And I don't get why you can't just enjoy them both because they're both awesome.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
Imagine enjoying 2 basketball players at the same time, Sopee.
Imagine an NBA Twitter account liking basketball.
Yeah, all that alone.
That doesn't add up. And then there's the Wizards. I think going back to the Celtics, like who do we play? Who are you? I'm not. Even before the Jaylen Brown news, I'm not confident beating any of these teams in a 1-game win. We would play Charlotte right now. No way, blowout. If we lose to Charlotte, we have the opportunity to play the winner of the Wizards or the Pacers. Maybe the Pacers. There's no chance in Christ I want to face Westbrook and Bradley Beal in a must-win, especially if it's in Boston. No. They're going to come into Boston and just freaking, I don't know, blow the doors off, give Scal a freaking heart attack. I don't know. Anyway, what was I going to say? What do we got here? We'll wrap up shortly. There's one thing I wanted to ask you, Diggy.
What's up?
This was kind of like an off-record thing. So I haven't talked about you this either. So Saturday night, I was doing something. I was watching a movie or something. I was talking to my wife, and I saw, it was a Star Wars commercial. And I asked my wife, I was like, hey, who do you think's like a better villain, Darth Vader or Thanos? Thought that was a fair question. And she's like, oh, I don't know. It's a good question. And I was like, well, who else would even like be in the same like realm? And she's like, well, maybe like Voldemort, who's like the bad guy from Harry Potter. So then once I had 3, I immediately went to a Mount Rushmore debate. And it's like now the Mount Rushmore has been set where if we're talking villains, if you have to go a different like universe, like Darth Vader from Star Wars, Thanos from Marvel, Voldemort, who would be the 4th villain on Mount Rushmore? What would be your gut instinct answer, Diggy?
My first initial answer immediately was Scar from The Lion King.
That's a good one. Someone else. I sent you that screenshot. I posted on Facebook just for shits and giggles. Actually, a bunch of people responded. Scar was up there.
He was my initial thought.
Is he? Do you think he's the ultimate Disney bad guy? I assume you're taking it from the Disney universe. Yeah.
I think he murdered his brother.
God, he was an asshole.
Jafar was a bad bitch.
Jafar's up there. Damn, Jafar was bad. He was, dude.
He also just had the look too. He looked like a pedophile.
I would throw Ursula up there. Ursula was nasty. That old lady witch from Snow White was bad. Just casual drive-by poisoning with an apple.
I think you guys touched upon this at some point on the Morse code, but Cruella de Vil from 101.
Baddest in the game. Baddest in the game.
The murder
She might be up there. Yep. What else we got here? I'm just trying to see. Any on your end, Sopee? That's a great answer.
I came up with 4, and I tried to take it in a little different direction. So these aren't from.
Of course you did.
One is from a movie. The other are from shows. So
shows, huh?
And I would say all these are pretty like stoic people, which makes them badder because like they don't show emotion. So Gus Fring from Breaking Bad.
Fair.
The character's name is Anton Chigurh, but it's Javier whatever from No Country for Old Men.
Anton Chigurh is the answer. That guy's badass.
That is a scary dude.
I don't know if he's. I'd put him on a Mount Rushmore of like bad guys. Like, I guess they're one and the same, but I think like
different
the villain,
bad guy presence.
Yeah, the villain has to be like from a bigger franchise. I think.
Okay.
Like Vader or like a bigger universe. Like Vader was the baddest dude in like a whole new universe. Like Chigurh was just technically just a guy in America, just a normal guy.
This is America.
Indeed. But go ahead.
In that case, the last 2 that I had, they worked together.
Starsky and Hutch.
Helen Pierce and Jacob Snell from Ozark. Helen Pierce was the lawyer.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of Jacob Snell's wife.
To the cartel. And then Jacob Snell was the like the opium farmer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Diggy, have you watched Ozark?
I have. I watched the first season. I haven't watched the second season yet. But I had only beef with the first season. It was just very dark. And I don't mean dark by like
it is.
I mean like not even mean like dark like
cinematography, you mean?
Like cinematography. It's like I feel like you're just constantly in the woods at any point.
Yeah, and it was always raining and cloudy.
I think I think I've read that. They did it on like if you watch it, I think Soapy, you might have taught there's like a blue tint to like the whole like show. I think they did that purposefully, obviously. Ozark's phenomenal, bro.
I mean, it definitely adds like the whole airiness to like the whole show. So I'm not complaining about it. I'm just like I remember the first couple times I'm like, is there ever gonna be sunlight at any point in the show? And I was like, no,
welcome to the Ozarks.
Wait,
Ozark is not.
Diggy, have you watched Peaky Blinders?
Yes.
Same thing in there where it's not necessarily always blue, but it's always gray and smoggy. There was never sunlight in that show.
Doesn't it take place in like England?
Yeah, in like obviously the industrial whatever area, but it was hilarious. It was just fucking smoke and clouds at all times.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Rest in peace to Polly.
Yeah, that's
rest in peace to Polly.
I don't want to talk too much about Ozark if Diggy hasn't seen it, but I'll say this: I think it gets exponentially better. Like I think 2 is better than 1, and then 3 is better than 2.
Okay, I'm definitely have to go back in to check that out, rewatch 1 and get back into 2.
Oh, I saw you guys see the Stranger Things trailer came out too.
I haven't seen the trailer yet, actually. I need to see.
It's like a teaser trailer, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But that'll be dope. I don't even think I finished season 3 actually. Now that I think about it, I need to definitely go back and watch that again before season 4. But no, those are good. It's just the reason I asked it was like, how do you interpret the question? Like, do you think you need to go to another? Like, should it be one person from different like universes or like, different like series? Because if my wife didn't say Voldemort, I'd just been like, oh, like there's got to be like the Emperor or like Kylo Ren or like someone else from Star Wars and then someone else from Marvel. But no, I think Scar is good. Bunch of people said the Joker, which I guess is natural to go from Marvel to DC, but
Joker's just way too likable as a bad guy, though. I think that's the problem.
I mean, if we really break it down, like someone like Thanos, like his main goal in life was to collect enough jewels where he could eliminate half the population of the world. That's totally relatable.
God
you didn't let me finish. You didn't let me finish. Like that's by far one of the most relatable characters in film I've ever seen. Have you not seen those movies?
I have.
I haven't.
Idiot. Oh, that's your fault. It's an incredibly popular film series, so I don't feel bad about that at all.
Hearing about it now. Apparently, it is.
Yeah. So there were some jokers. Someone said Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones, which I thought was interesting, but I think he just had too short of a run in Game of Thrones. I don't know. Like, do you watch Game of Thrones, Diggy?
I did, unfortunately, watch.
Like, who's like the main like antagonist in Game of Thrones?
A lot of people say Cersei. I guess
I said the same thing. I can't actually exactly what I said. I said I was thinking a GOT character too. My gut went to Cersei, but Ramsay or the Night King might be the right answer. I think the Night King's the guy, but he's just such like an overarching like premise. No one really, you didn't really get to know him that well.
No.
Kind of a downplay. No.
A lot of character building behind the Night King.
Someone said Michael Corleone. Seems like a good guy in my book.
Bowser.
There's the Night King. Bowser's actually not a bad answer.
It's a great answer. No one
That's a
kidnapper.
phenomenal answer. A universe no one else really thought of. Mario World. Bowser and Wario, I think, are both up there. Genuine bad dudes.
I think I know you said Vader, but I think Palpatine is.
I was gonna say I think you could argue both. Yeah,
he's so much more evil looking in the voice and the look.
Bad dude. Good friend of the program, James Casson Reed, said Ivan Ooze, the bad guy from the Power Rangers movie. That guy was.
I don't even know that reference.
Here, someone did say Scar. A lot of people said Walter White too, which.
Nah, come on.
I watched the same show as you guys. Walter White was the good guy, no?
Yeah, it was a means to an end. Like he was trying to help his family out.
I was just saying, he's trying to help his family.
Like if Walter White was the antagonist, who's the protagonist? Hank? Like who are you rooting for? Like the
nobody.
The cops? Yeah. DEA.
We are not rooting for cops here.
I don't hate this answer. Someone said Dennis Rodman, and they made a really good argument. It's a picture of Dennis Rodman, and it says, this man headbutted a ref, smashed Carmen Electra, married Carmen Electra, took a private jet to go hook up with Madonna, married himself, became a wrestler, joined the NWO, had Hulk Hogan as a tag team partner, did an action movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme, won 3 championships with Michael Jordan, and became best friends with a North Korean dictator. Say what you want, but Dennis Rodman is legendary and one of the baddest mother effers of all time. I might have to realize Rodman.
He's teamed up with so many iconic, either good or bad.
He's got a hell of a little black book, hell of a contacts list, hell of a close friends list on Instagram. MJ, Electra, Un. I don't know. But what else? We'll get wrapped up here. I know we kind of jumped right into it, but again, Diggy, thanks for jumping on this, man. Appreciate it. Anything else on your end before we hop off? Where can everyone find you on the Twitter sphere and everything else you got going on?
Twitter, bdig89. Pretty much, I don't really mess with Instagram like that at all, so you won't want to find me there. But I would say always chatting with you guys on Twitter, and then Sopee on Discord and stuff. It seems like we always have a common interest in the Twitter sphere.
I know. I've been trying to figure out how to get the Discord on my phone for going on a year now. I'll figure it out eventually, but
we got to do a live show from Water Country.
I forgot about it. Yeah, Sobee's been heavy on the Water Country talk.
Mid Geronimo on Water Country. Have you seen? I think we talked about this on episode. Have you seen the Action Park documentary, Diggy, on HBO?
I have, and what a wild scene that was.
Phenomenal. I'd like to record from there, actually, if I had the choice. But yeah,
dude, imagine how awesome those summer parties. Walk in.
What's that, Diggy?
I said, get your hepatitis shot before you get to the park, and you'll be good to go to record.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys have your vaccine cards? Right here. Your hepatitis vaccine card. Oh, yeah. Yes. Right here.
There we go. And right in the entry.
Oh, yeah. You went to
Action right behind this. Yes.
You went to Action Park in the 80s. You don't need this vaccine. You're good. You'll be just fine if you catch this virus. Anything from you, Soap, before we hop off?
One final basketball villain, Grayson Allen.
Oh, I mean,
got to be
fantastic.
I don't even want to give him I don't want to give him like the benefit of being a villain. Like he's just like I think a villain, you have to be like a decent player. Yeah. Like Rodman's a great player. Draymond's a great player. Grayson Allen just stinks. Like he's just a little rascal. Little Rascals 2, starring Grayson Allen. Like that guy's just the worst.
Face. He is a face of a little rascal. Like it's actually perfect.
Kyle Lowry, I hate personally. I think he's a big time flopper.
He's not dirty though. That's not dirty though. Well, it is, but it's you know what I mean. It's not violent. Grayson Allen's violent.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry is along the same lines of what I would think of Marcus Smart if Marcus Smart wasn't on the Celtics. I think. In terms of like how much I would dislike him.
And he is on the Celtics. I can't imagine how much I would dislike Marcus Smart if he wasn't on the Celtics.
Well, when he's shooting other teams out of games, you would love him. So
yeah, there's nothing better than Marcus Smart coming out of the gate, hitting his first 2 threes, knowing he's going to just finish a cool 3 for 19 from behind the arc. I'm a big fan.
There's only one way you can find out.
And he does. He'll make the attempts to find out.
Can't drink all day if you don't start in the morning. Marcus Smart. All right, brother. We're gonna hop off here, but anytime you want to come back on, man, let us know. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Right. This was a great time.
All right, everyone else. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
See you.
Peace.